G'day, we are Hands Like Houses, and you are watching Rock Sound.
Hey, it's James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound, joined now by Trenton and Alex from Hands Like Houses. How are you guys?
Very well, thank you.
Brilliant, thanks.
As we've just been discussing, you've literally just landed in the UK, so thank you for being here. In a semi-tired state, or are we okay? Are we powering through?
We're in that kind of in-between where I'm not really sure how we feel right now.
You
see how it
smoked 2
goes.
coffees very quickly at breakfast this morning,
did.
so
Powered them.
Trent's been wired for a while.
Yeah, that's the plan. I think, yeah, if you get the caffeine hit early on, we'll power through, we'll make it through the day. Let's start with the album, of course, Anon. There was a really nice quote I saw from you recently where you were saying it's your most significant album to date. Why? Big questions to start. Why?
Oh, coming in with the big shots. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's what's for?
So everyone at home can hear what you have to say.
I'm going to talk too fast for anyone to understand anyway. Significant, I don't know, for us it just felt like it was kind of the most confident we've been coming out of the studio. Like I think every other time there's been this kind of apprehension of like what are people going to think, and this time around I think we kind of knew that. I mean, it has been a polarizing record in some ways, but you know, we knew that it was what we wanted it to be, and we came out just feeling like this is going to kind of be something that, you know, makes a difference for us, you know, extends our career, changes the way that people see us, change the way we see ourselves, and it just felt like, I don't know, it felt like we built it for impact, and I don't know.
It's just funny because I feel like every album that any band releases, like your latest album, you're always like, this is the album.
This is the one, guys.
And every question, every interview, they're like, this is just it. And this obviously will keep writing, like, hopefully writing better and better albums. But yeah, like Trent said, this was definitely like a point where we all unanimously felt very, very confident coming out.
As you hinted as well, it certainly feels like a bit, not a dramatic shift, I'd necessarily say, but it feels like you've got a lot more diverse influences in there. Let's say, who weren't particularly who weren't particularly the kind of bands and artists you were listening to in the studio and thinking.
I think it was, you know, I guess it was more like textural sort of thing. So looking at bands like, you know, Royal Blood, 1975, and Thrice's last couple of records as well. At least for me, was a big.
Then there was sort of like some, not like a throwback bands, but like there's kind of like a little bit of like a Silverchair vibe and like a little bit of a
kind of late 90s, early 2000s.
element.
So kind of stuff like Silverchair, even Nine Inch Nails, like even some early Manson sort of stuff like that. Yeah. Not that we really listened to that stuff heaps, but we did kind of reference a few, I guess, almost like melodic sort of tones from that time.
Yeah.
I like how you said textural. I think that was a nice
there we
way
go.
to describe
There's
it.
the quote. Textural. That's what we pulled out of it. But no, it is quite a diverse listen. It's really interesting to see all the kind of... What was the kind of starting point with it? Did you have a sort of sound you wanted to hit and then the stuff developed around it? Or?
I think like we had a starting point and then that starting point kind of got erased.
Right.
Thrown out the window.
We had a bunch of demos that we started and it was sounding good and it was sounding like Hands Like Houses and it was sounding... We were confident in it but it wasn't sounding, I guess we wanted kind of more to sound different or kind of had its own element.
It kind of felt like B-sides from the last record, but you know, still like, well, not B-sides because that makes it sound like they weren't as good. Like we thought we'd written some, you know, basically, you know, Dissonance 2.0, which we could have done and we could have built on, but it just didn't feel right for us. I think we had 6 months off between, I guess, you know, the end of Warped Tour last year, which was our last kind of full tour that we did, and then, you know, into actually starting to plan and book all the recording stuff. And so we had 6 months to just kind of write songs and kind of see what fit. And we ended up having Colin, our producer, fly out to Australia, and we just wrote a bunch of songs in my backyard. Actually, we set up a tent and I have my music studio out there.
Trent has it's like a farm. When he says backyard, we had like a little commune set up. So it wasn't exactly like...
When you said tent as well, I was like, that's interesting. Okay, tent in the back garden.
Very different to a British backyard.
Right, yeah, not a pop-up tent.
Room for activities.
Nice.
But yeah, so we did that and we wrote the song Sick, which is one of our favourites on the record and one of the ones we're most excited to put some energy behind in future. But that song kind of just felt like there was this catalyst sort of moment where I felt like, hey, this is what the album needs to be. And so we rewrote a lot of the stuff we'd been working on. We threw a lot of stuff out the window. We started a bunch of new things. And that kind of just felt like, that was the starting point, the foundation to build the rest of it on.
Absolutely. And how has the kind of fan reactions been so far? You know, it's always interesting to see how the fans develop when there is new music out there that's on a slightly different track.
It's actually been really exciting because I feel like sometimes people like don't give fans enough credit and play it safer, and they'll be like, all right, well, we found something that obviously our fans do enjoy, so let's not break that mold.
Don't rock the boat.
Yeah, exactly. Don't rock the boat. And we obviously had some inklings that it might kind of rock our little boat somewhat, but people have been really receptive to that.
Absolutely.
They were like,
screw the boat, get a hovercraft.
they were really pumped, and it's been nice to see people kind of really understanding what we were trying to do. Not that we had some kind of like messiah thing going on, but it was just like a little bit of something different, and everyone's been really receptive to that. So.
Yeah, and how do you think that's going to play into the future as well now? Because obviously it's far too early to talk about things like new music when this record's just come out. But it is interesting to see that you've pushed into new directions. Is that something you want to be exploring more and more of as we move forward in terms of...
I think honestly it just depends on what we're listening to in the next, know, who we tour with, what opportunities arise, what goes well, what doesn't. And I think, and even just, what records come out in the next 2-3 years that we really like, we certainly didn't set out to create this type of album or direction, when we finished up on the last cycle. And I think it just became a combination of just listening to the various things we did. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I don't know if this is necessarily a step in a specific direction. It's just the next step in the journey. And we've looked up to bands like Thrice and Bring Me the Horizon, for example, that have made those quite significant steps between albums, but it's always been one step at a time. And not necessarily in a single linear direction as well. It's been that kind of evolution and growth, adapting to what's happening around them. And I think that that's certainly the way forward for us as best as we can shape it.
Yeah, what do you reckon about that?
Well, there you go. It's a hell of an answer. I like that. Drop that mic right there. But no, jumping back a little bit in terms of the influences, like you say, it is going to, it will all evolve in terms of what you're listening to and what kind of happens. You mentioned 1975 there in this new record. That was an interesting talking point, I thought, because you can kind of hear, particularly with their stuff, it is so diverse and everything. I can hear how it's kind of blended to your stuff, but still kept to sound like you. Were there any other records in particular that you were actually listening to and picking up from?
Oh man, it's so strange because there's a bunch of Australian stuff that I was listening to, particularly for a couple of the songs, like a lot of Violent Soho, and I'm not sure how much that kind of gets over to the UK as much, but like a lot of there's this sort of like I guess it's like a resurgence of grunge and almost like a garage band genre.
Right.
But it's really fun because it's like it keeps everything very like a good simple, and everything's very digestible, and you just like it's all about like the feeling of it rather than being like what's the message or what's everything. It's just like this song feels fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I want to rock
about
out.
Vibes.
And it's exactly. And so we kind of took a lot of that into just being like our songs are feeling good and this song is feeling good, so let's just go with it.
Yeah. There's a lot about trusting instincts, I think, and that first idea that comes out, it's about like capturing and refining that first idea rather than trying to shape that first idea into something that you think it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of vibes, when you put Monster together, did you think that one day that would hit the vibe of WWE wrestling? No, but that is such a cool thing, and kind of, I guess it must have been quite unexpected, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, certainly for us.
That's been psycho, for sure.
We've been, I think we've always seen ourselves as a band that's kind of, somewhat flying under the radar with a lot of things. And so I think those sort of opportunities are something we've always kind of inspired, like, hey, it'd be great to get, licensing and syncs happening with TV, games, film, that sort of stuff. But we never really kind of counted on it happening. But it just so happened that this time it came around.
The Undertaker.
We got the email. We got the email one morning and we're just like, oh yeah, that'd be great. And then literally 2 hours later, we got people tagging us on Twitter saying that, holy crap, did I just hear you guys on WWE?
That's awesome.
And so, I mean, that's been incredible for us already. Like, got played to 70,000 people at the actual event in Melbourne. We had a friend who was there who was saying that it got played like 20 times through the course of the evenings.
So a lot.
To the point where hopefully it didn't kind of counteract the benefits of it being there, but it's like, oh, this song again.
Not at all. If you're having a good time watching some wrestling, it's a nice association, surely. Yeah,
no, for sure. And that's actually
heads.
And that's shoehorned onto another thing. We just we've got another ad placement in Australia with Fox 8 channel, which I think it's for The Flash. Like it's kind of they're doing some superhero stuff.
Nice.
They're doing
it's like a DC comic, and it's just basically like explosions and our song playing and superheroes flying around. So it's basically like
superheroes, wrestlers. I like this. Sure. You're ticking off the childhood dreams here. This is very, very cool. I like that vibe a lot. Well, what I do want to finish asking you guys on is really what are the aims moving forward now? End of 2018, a lot of touring, I suppose, coming up next year, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're just starting to kind of piece it all together now, actually. And funnily enough, one of the key focuses for us next year is going to be doing a lot of like UK Europe stuff,
Right.
Yeah.
and then a lot more Australia stuff as well.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I think I'm trying to
America
link up a
included,
few,
but-
link up a few festival shows and kind of, I guess a few things to kind of connect them up from here to there. So
Brilliant.
we'll see.
No.
We'll see. We're excited.
Exciting times ahead. We look forward to seeing you back over here in the UK playing some shows, and congrats again on the album and everything,
Thanks
guys.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Hands like houses.
Cheers.